Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Teenage CrossFit Games Pit Teen Throwdown series. I am your host, Lauren Khalil. Over the next several months, we'll be releasing a series of videos with athletes, coaches, doctors, and experts to help you on your journey to the CrossFit Games. Our sponsor of today's episode is Push Up Chalk, and as someone who spends a lot of time working on the road, this stuff is great to just throw in my gym bag and I am good to go. Push Up Chalk will help maximize your grip and elevate your performance with their premium on-demand block gym chalk. The convenience of this product has been a game changer, and you no longer need to worry about being the messy chalk user at the gym. Push Up Chalk is offering our viewers 15% off if you use code PITTEEN15. That's PITTEEN15 at pushupchalk.com. On today's episode, we have two CrossFit Games athletes that were former Teen Games athletes, Paige Powers and Dallin Pepper. It's so great to have you two here today and such shining stars to our community nonetheless.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
I'm glad because it's kind of a rest day, but Dallin still had to go running today. Is that like your rest and recovery routine on Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday is usually just nice and aerobic, pretty easy. And then Sunday will be a full rest day. So just moving around a little bit and then get some work from my chiro and then probably do nothing but play games and watch movies the rest of the day.
Oh, perfect. Okay, let's start with what is your ultimate rest day and how has it changed over the years? Paige, we'll let you start.
Oh goodness, I think my ultimate rest day would literally be doing nothing. Typically I do rest full day on Sunday, so I'll get up and go to church and then go to the grocery store after, but then after that just chill and do nothing. Some days I'm a little bit busier than I'd like to be, but I think that's the ultimate rest day is just doing nothing, turning my mind and my body off and chilling.
Dallin's got games on the mind.
Yeah. So my rest day would be wake up, have a different breakfast than I have all the other days of the week. Maybe throw some pancakes in there, something like that. And then I'm gonna do a little stretching. Then I'm gonna do sauna and cold plunge, some contrast therapy. That's perfect. That always makes me feel really good. Get a little bit of stuff done so I feel like productive about my life, right? Like some emails, whatever that might be, maybe 30 minutes to an hour. Take a nice nap because sauna and plunge will do that to you. Then I'm gonna head to the beach and be there for like an hour, just hanging out, just watching the water, maybe eat a snack, and then go to bed early. Play some games also. Games too.
Really set the scene for us with the beach and everything.
A
I'm
little jealous.
curious. Yeah, just a
I had
little
to
bit as I'm like freezing with a blanket right now.
Yeah.
I'm curious how, if any, your rest and recovery has changed throughout the years of your training because I think about when I was younger in sports as a teenager and I didn't really prioritize those things because your body can sometimes just do these incredible things without maybe warming up the best or cooling down the best. Is there anything that you have in your routine now that in hindsight you would have added into your training or style earlier in life?
I think for me, warming up is a big part. I used to just, hop right in, like if I was doing lifting, just like go 25 straight to 45s and like not really do much of a warm up. But I'm learning that that's not very smart. And I still need like structure of somebody telling me like, here's exactly what you're gonna do because I still won't do it if I don't have that structure. But it's helped a ton between like warming up properly and cooling down, and my body just feels so much better during the training days and training weeks.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would say something that I implement now that I probably could have implemented more in terms of like recovery would be just like finding time to have a little bit where there's zero CrossFit. Like, don't think about training, don't watch a CrossFit video, don't even stretch, don't try and recover. Because oftentimes, if you're training as hard as you are to make it to these big competitions, like you have plenty of CrossFit in your life, and so you just need a little bit of time not doing it. And I think that will actually make you better.
Has that been a struggle for either of you, being able to disconnect and even looping it in with social media, because everything's a highlight reel and you follow your friends and other athletes and it's all CrossFit, CrossFit, CrossFit. How do you set that aside with ensuring you're reaching your goals and doing everything you need to when you're in the gym, but then maybe playing pickleball or reading a book or doing these things that are not CrossFit?
Yeah, I think for me, you have to be intentional about it. Like the way I started doing that was, well, if it's going to make me better, then I'll just program it into my day. Like, you're not going to think about CrossFit at this time on purpose. And if that's how you have to like trick your mind into thinking it, like, it is going to put you closer to your goals. And that's how I go about like making a lot of decisions. So if I can say, don't think about CrossFit here because it's going to help you become better at it. It's kind of like backwards in a way, but you start to learn how to do it on your own and when the right time is, and then you really can start to enjoy it.
Yeah, I have to agree with the intentionality part. Very early on, I had like people and coaches in my life that kind of set that like, hey, you have to pick a hobby and like something that's completely not related to CrossFit. And that's like changed over the years and like, every month it's different. Sometimes like one time I tried to pick up guitar a little bit and then I'm like right now I'm reading. Sometimes I like to paint. Sometimes I like to bake. So it kind of just depends on the season what I want to do, but as long as it doesn't relate to CrossFit and I'm intentional about setting that time aside to do that hobby, then I feel a lot better mentally.
Is it tough, or did you find it challenging when you were both still in the teenage division? Because I'm sure eventually the goal was to be where you are now, compete with the elite individuals. And when you have this like massive goal ahead of you, is it hard to just set it aside and take time away from CrossFit?
Yeah, I mean, I can picture myself as a teenager. If I was watching this exact same video, I'd just be like rolling my eyes, like, here we go, more people talking about saying like doing other things. Like, oh my goodness, I've heard this so many times. So I know whoever's watching this, I know I'm talking to you. Yeah, I mean, but that's the cool part about like it's a journey, and like that's where the fulfillment, and that's where those are the things you're going to remember, is all the parts of like trying to reach this goal. Like when if you make the goal, or if you don't, like you're not going to remember those moments quite the same as all the moments leading up to it. And so just like being very present and being where your feet are and not getting too ahead of yourself, because it is a long road, so you might as well not just float by it on when you're trying to reach it.
Yeah, I agree. I think like enjoying it has to be a part of the process. And I know a lot of the people that compete have that just competitor's mindset, and we're always like chasing our goals, always wanting to win, whatever it looks like, always trying to do better. But I think it's just keeping like somewhat of the fun in it as much as possible, and not getting too caught up in like what's ahead in the future and kind of just taking it one year, one season at a time.
Is there a like moment or highlight from when either of you competed in the teen division where you now almost struggle to reach like that level of happiness, like just a highlight moment that you almost compare everything to?
I think for me, it was probably like my first year at the games, just because I was still so new to CrossFit. I didn't really know what was going on. And then I ended up like on the podium that year. It was kind of just such a freeing feeling to like end up doing so much better than I thought and have no pressure or expectations because I didn't really even know what I was getting myself into. So honestly, I still kind of try to chase that, even though I like have big goals. I still try to like bring myself back to why I started it, and like I had so much fun back then. So
Mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say something very similar. Like my first year at the games, uh, like winning, and I feel like that feeling was so, I guess, the word is like pure, I guess. Like I'm just like a little
Yeah.
15. And like it was just like such an awesome feeling because I truly do just love this sport, and I like Paige said, like I'm always trying to like go back and make sure I still have that inside me even to today, because it is a job, and with a job there becomes way more stressors. Um, there's different obligations that you have to fulfill, and so I'm always chasing that like freeing feeling of just being a teen and just loving every second of it. And so I always think back to those memories.
What's the one thing that you might have learned not until now, not until you're competing in the elite individual division that you would have changed if you knew back when you were competing in the teen division?
Hmm. Tough one.
I know, kind of putting you guys on the spot without
Yeah.
preparation.
No, I like it. I like it. I can make something up if you want to keep thinking, Paige.
What a gentleman.
Thank you.
I guess so. Like cliche answer, like in my head, is like I wouldn't change anything because that's where it got me where I am today, right? But
I like the voice you use when you said that.
like it's like sassing myself, I guess. I don't know. Man, I think the importance of like who you surround yourself with and making sure you are surrounding yourself with people. Um, I feel like as a teenager I started to like maybe push some people away because if anything, like I was not insecure about being the only one that did CrossFit, but I didn't like the extra attention like at school or whatever. And so I took that as being made fun of maybe. And so like just making sure, well, I don't know how to word this if I'm being honest. Like just invite people into that circle, like bring them to the gym because it's fun to have them around. Just that. Does that get my point
Yeah,
across?
like having
Yeah.
the correct support system and
Yeah.
like not dividing lines of these are my CrossFit friends and these are my non-CrossFit
Yeah, because
friends.
like
Absolutely.
I had and continue to have the greatest support system ever, and I did make a lot of friends in CrossFit as I went through my teenage years. But like, don't leave behind some of the other friends that you have too. Like, try and get them involved.
I agree with that. I think, like, sometimes with CrossFit, it can become like a super selfish sport because everything that you do, you wanna become the best version of yourself, and sometimes that looks like, not hanging out with your friends on the weekend. But I mean, I have to just agree with that and add to that, like, I wish that I would've invited people into, like, that part of my life and not kind of, like, shut them out and, like, just fully dive myself into CrossFit. But again, like he said, it did shape me into like who I am today, and I have always been that way. Like I have to go 110% into everything at once. But I do kind of wish that I saved that more for like now, where it's like, this is my job and this is what I have to focus on. But at the same time, it's like even now I still have to be mindful of like inviting people into my life, into training and like being around people, and it just makes it so much better going through it with other people, whether it's just working out in the gym with regular gym goers and like maybe we're doing our separate thing, maybe we're doing a workout together, but not worrying about constantly having to like be your best, put yourself around the best people, like just be around people.
Isn't it so
You
interesting?
both
Basically, live all of us teenage athletes live basically the same life.
Yeah,
Like,
seriously.
one of us talk, it's like, wow, this is crazy.
Yep.
But that's what's
Felt
so
that.
cool, like, the whole community and I guess you can say this really with CrossFit in so many different legs, it's so interconnected in so many of the things that you go through, whether it's I mean, thinking back to the time when you were both still in school, like, do you go to prom? Do you not go to prom? Do you go
Mhm.
to the movies on a Friday night? Do you not? And all of those decisions that, like, we don't have to think about now, but are such an intricate role of, like, our life and social experience and all of these things. How do you balance these incredible goals and CrossFit and doing the things, but also remembering that, you are still a kid, a teenager, and having that social connection is so important with your overall development?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like hard. I think it kind of goes back to setting the intentionality of having something outside of CrossFit and kind of forcing yourself to do it, even if you think that's not the best thing for you at the time. Because for somebody like me, if I'm happy during training, I'm going to be happy during competition. I'm going to do a lot better. So I think it's the balance is the biggest part of doing well and succeeding in the sport and like also being happy while doing it.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's tricky because like each of you guys listening are living completely different lives from one another, and I think you just have to remember that when you look back, there's going to be memories that you're going to wish you had, or there's going to be memories that you're grateful you had or you have. And like one of those examples for me was when I decided I was going to play baseball and football again in high school after taking a couple of years off just to do CrossFit. And I cannot tell you how grateful I am for some of those memories, whether it's bus rides, long practices where the coaches are just driving us crazy. Like all those little things are so important to me that I have at least some of those, even though I missed out on a few years. Um, and like I didn't think I was going to miss out on it when I stopped doing some of those things. And so just like make sure you're just like paying attention to I think that goes back to being present. And again, you have to decide for yourself because you're going to learn. You're going to learn eventually. So
Yeah, and you only
Yeah.
get that point of your life once. So, don't I mean, I guess either way it's not a waste.
yeah.
But I mean, yeah, like Dallin said, like you're going to want to have memories that you're grateful that you did have and not miss out on them.
And if you do decide to go the other route and not do those things, just make the absolute most of it because you're still going to have great memories. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep thinking back to when I was a teenager and I heard these things. I'm just like, I'm rolling my eyes that I'm saying them now.
Yeah.
Well, me too. And I'm much older than both of you, but it really brings me back to even some of the team sports I played because now, since I've done CrossFit, it's like, yeah, you have that community. And if you go to an affiliate or you're part of a training camp and you train with others, that's your team, but it's still very individual. Like, there's certain memories, like Dallin's talking about, like bus rides to games. Like, oh, that just brought me back to like sitting in the bus, like little sardines and with snacks and playing music and all of these things that add to some of the best memories. But like thinking ahead to like support system and who you should have in your court. I think of whether it's your parents or siblings or spouse, significant other. At what point do you think like having an athlete agent or a manager really should be part of that conversation?
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's different for everyone. Um, I'm not sure that I have like a clear answer for that. But I was for me, it kind of just came about naturally.
Mm.
And a lot of that stuff I like handled on my own for so many years that was almost weird to have like somebody else take care of that. But at the same time, I was like at a point in my career where I needed that. Like I needed somebody to take that mental stress off of me of handling all that stuff. Um, and I mean, it like the timing's just aligned to where like I had my manager now, Bijan, reach out to me, and I just felt like I needed it at that moment. So.
Mm.
I think it's different for everyone, though.
Yeah, definitely different from everyone. I think where the sport's at right now, like as a teenager, like you just keep focusing on having fun and enjoying like those memories at the games and these competitions. Like you're gonna be so close to people for years. Like I'm still stuck with James. Like we're just
You guys can't get rid of each other and everybody loves it.
But yeah, we're best friends, and that started when we were 15. So I think that should be the focus for sure. And I think it'll come to a point where it does happen naturally. Like you'll have brands or other agents like reaching out, and that's when you can start to um, consider those things and look at different options and speak with different people. I recommend talking with multiple different agents if it's like that time comes for these for anyone. And just like taking it slow as you can.
Yeah.
Not gonna waste or not gonna lose any time. So that's what I think.
Yeah.
Let's get into some fun little tips that you guys might have when it comes to competing, getting ready for competitions, things like that. So let's start with, what are the top 5 things that you always have in your gym bag no matter what?
Grips, jump rope, belt, knee sleeves, and thumb tape.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and give different answers for those 8 answers. I say way too much tape that I'm not gonna use over the course of a weekend for a competition. Uh, and then I'll go with Uncrustables.
Oh,
Uh,
say less. Did you see that Cinnamon
yes,
Toast Crunch was coming out with one?
an Uncrustable,
That sounds fire.
Yeah, I know.
like a cinnamon almond butter or something like that.
I
Got
don't
me.
know. Somebody posted it on Instagram and I
Mm.
was like, where can I buy that? And it said coming soon. So TBD.
Okay, so we got tape, Uncrustables. I will say an Airwave. I do everything with that. Usually some garbage in my gym bag. Um, just like
Like stuff you haven't thrown out
Naturally.
yet.
old
Great.
and some headphones, some ESC headphones.
Ooh.
Those are all good.
Yeah.
Is there a time that you showed up to a competition and there was something that you absolutely needed that you left behind?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe like as far as food wise, and then I'm like
Mm.
texting or calling my mom. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need this stat. She's like, I'm on it. I got you.
I don't know. I'm just
Thank God
always
for moms.
so prepared. I don't know.
Oh, Dallin, we got
Well,
to get your wife on.
I'm
Well, okay. Let me phrase. We are.
Yeah. There we
Uh,
go.
I know there was one time that at Rogue a pair of shoes were like soaking wet and I didn't bring. Nope, at Rogue I forgot lifters because we heard that the last event was gonna be like heavy cleans, and so Corinne went to go get them from the hotel, but we didn't even need them because they're double unders. But that would be the one time.
Okay. Well, she
I'm
still came in clutch anyways.
It's still
yeah.
over
I'm
there.
always like running late. And so I need my mom to be with me. She stays in the hotel room with me almost every competition, at least every games. And I always underestimate the amount of time it takes me to get ready. So then I'm like running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I'm like, please pack this and this and this. And then usually I end up forgetting something, but it's like not super important. But
Okay, well, so building on the 5 things you must have in your bag, let's just go through what each of your like pre-competition packing list involves. Like, give us the full extended version.
Full extended. Who's going first?
you can take it if you want.
All right. So I'll go through what events we have the next day, and I'll make a list of everything I need for each workout, equipment wise. So that'll change every single day. And then with my nutrition coach and Corinne, we plan meals based on the schedule of events. And so Corinne knows how much food for each meal based on which time in between events. And then a giant Ziploc full bag full of snacks because there's no such thing as too many carbs in a competition.
That's true.
And
I
then
like that motto.
Yeah.
also lay out all the clothes because I cannot wear the same thing twice because it's drenched in sweat no matter what. So then I'll have new socks, underwear, shorts, shirt for each event. And then if
Yeah.
it's better outside, that depends on the color because dark colors get hot.
I
Oh,
don't even think about that. That's smart.
I didn't think of that either. Wow,
Yeah.
Dallin. Nice. That was a good one.
I'm telling you.
He's got the
The man
fashion
knows.
tips.
Yeah. Okay, Paige, what's on
Um,
your list?
so usually I have to like actually write out a list before I like even leave my house for a competition. But I kind of do the same thing with packing clothes. I'll like lay out outfits on my bed, and I pack like probably my whole dresser full of clothes because you can never have too many. But I'm definitely like an overpacker when it comes to stuff. So even like with my gym bag stuff, everything that I have in it right now, I can just like up and take my bag to the competition right now. But then I'm like, oh, well, what if I need like a heavy rope just to like, practice if we're going to have a heavy rope? Or what if I need, I don't know, like an extra belt? What if my belt breaks? Like, so I just usually pack like one extra of everything that's already in my bag. And then usually I go grocery shopping there, but the stuff that I'm like not sure if I can get, like I will literally pack almost a full suitcase full of like first form stuff between like um whey, carbs, creatine, protein bars. I'm a sucker for protein bars, pack a ton of those. I'll pack like random gummies even though you can like buy those. But just to make sure I have them on hand. And Rice
When
Krispie
you
treats.
Oh, yes.
I was gonna say when you said
So good.
like being an extra of everything to put it in perspective, I had 8 different pairs of knee sleeves, all for different reasons. At CrossFit,
What? You can find 8 different reasons to wear 8 different pairs?
different thickness, different length, different.
Mm.
Huh. I might have to start calling you like the Brent Fikowski Jr.
Trying
Of packing.
a good balance.
Yeah, I feel like that's something he does.
Brent brought at least 4 pairs.
Okay. Okay, so you're learning from your wiser friends in your division. If you guys remember to your very first CrossFit games as a teen, what was the biggest like shock of being there? Was there anything that was a huge like takeaway that helped you the second year that you wish you almost like knew in advance?
I think just the overall experience of like what the weekend is. I wasn't honestly super familiar at all with the CrossFit Games before I actually competed in them. So I think it was just knowing what a full weekend of competing at the CrossFit Games, and then obviously the intensity of the workouts and the volume was quite a bit more than I had ever done. So I think it was just like walking through and like doing it for the first time that helped for the next year. So I like had the expectation of what it was kind of going to be like.
I would say the biggest shock is how long the days are and how short the weekend is. I remember one day I didn't sleep as good the night before. Had a bad event. I figured it's got to be like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and it was 3 p.m. when I got back from the workout. Like I just assumed that it was really late, and then I realized like still got briefings, another event. So just like mentally preparing for something like that, just being aware of it, and then it goes by way quick, so you enjoy it. So there's 2 ends of that.
Yeah, that is the weirdest thing about the CrossFit Games still. The days are so stinking long.
Miserable.
And then Sunday, it's like, where did it go? It's gone.
Every time.
So, yeah, it's like, even though the days get long and it's like, it kind of drags on, you're sore, you're tired, whatever, it can be easy to be in like a negative mindset about it. But then I've learned to be way more grateful about like every single event, so that Sunday I'm not regretting the whole weekend just going by in a blink of an eye.
Is there a moment in time in your entire CrossFit career that like lives rent free somewhere in your brain that was like the biggest mistake you made?
I think for me, it wasn't like a huge mistake, but I flew off the bar on the last event of the 2018 CrossFit Games because I think the workout was like 5 rounds of 20 toes to bar and like 10 sandbag cleans or something like that. And I was like, I can hang on for sure for the last set. And I completely peeled off the bar. It was kind of just like embarrassing more than like, I mean, I still somehow ended up like winning the event, but I mean, yeah, that lives rent free for sure.
I guess the most frustrating one would be when I was 16 at the 2018 games. We had the one where you did like an 800-meter run and then ran through the lengthened obstacle course where there's like still space between each thing. And they told us in the briefing, don't touch the black line on the cargo net. So I go up over the cargo net and flip over, and I'm like, black line. And then I had to do it again. And that's like no rep you could ever get in the sport of CrossFit. So that was really annoying. I messed up on obstacle courses a lot. So, yeah.
This might be a little like out to left field, but just as we're talking about the day and we're talking about eating and nutrition and all of these things, I think about how hydrated I probably would be and the amount of like liquid, whether it's protein shakes, electrolytes, that is there ample opportunity to go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Or
think
like,
so.
do you have to like go to the woods every now and then?
There's plenty of, at least so in Madison, like tons of bathrooms area. There's always like porta potties, but also like trailers with like a little bit nicer bathroom
Oh, sure.
up areas. And I think all the athlete control know that someone's going to ask if they can go while we're corralled, and that's probably fit into the schedule. And they're always like about that. They're just like, hurry back. And that's the answer every time. So.
Hurry back.
Yeah.
I like that.
But they're all amazing people. So.
If you could give one piece of advice to the teen athletes who are competing this year, especially knowing it's a different format, it's same location that a lot of them have been to, but not necessarily for the CrossFit Games. What is that piece of advice that you would give to these athletes?
I just say like don't take it for granted. I feel like that's super simple and like you can interpret it in multiple different ways, but truly just like live in the moment, soak it up, and it like pretend like it can all be taken away. And I mean that's what I do to like make myself more grateful for it. I think it's definitely something that I just expected to qualify for the CrossFit Games as a teenager, but it's actually like, I found out once I moved up to the elite that it's actually really, really hard. So yeah, just don't take it for granted.
I'd say control what you can control, and everything else, ignore it, because that's all you can do about things you can't control. No. Yeah.
Good answers. Dallin Pepper, Paige Powers, thank you two so much for sitting down with us and giving us some insight to the tricks and things you've learned along the way, and so many really great tips to help these athletes have a successful year. And I wish you both just as much success in your careers in CrossFit this season.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.